We then proceeded at that point into our simulated countdown.
Lunchtime, kids! Hello, friends. It's lunchtime.
Welcome to 2019, kids. We made it. This is the lunch break here on RNCN. I'm Matt. Very happy to be back in the new year here on the lunch break. In the booth, I've got Zach Lewis hanging out in there. Actually, we've got a full crew.
Yeah,
in the booth.
me and a couple others, actually.
You got some friends. Anna is in there. Derek is in there. And the reason they're all in there is because we have a packed studio in here today. So I'll just kind of go around the horn here. To my right, I've got Scotty K from Hot 93.3.
Yeah.
Welcome in.
Hey,
nice
man, thanks for having us. If you guys want to pull up a chair, you guys can come in here. We don't mean to kick you out of here.
It's not quite crowded enough in here, yeah. And then going around the table, we've got Karsten Williams, and we have Elliot Jolivet, and we'll explain what these two gentlemen are up to here in just a moment. But Scotty, welcome in. How's 2019 been for you so far?
It's been a long 4 days. So when you every day I wait, so my show starts at 5:30 in the morning, right? We go on the air.
Yeah.
And so every day I actually do a show for a couple other cities before that. So I get up at 2:15 in the morning.
Good grief.
Yeah, which is for a lot of people still the day before, right? So it's people don't expect it's not the I basically go to bed or wake up the day before. But to get back into that, because I took full advantage of being off for a little bit for the holidays.
How long do you have off?
About a week and a half before that, which is like an eternity for me because I don't. I left a lot of sick days on the table. I should have taken those throughout the year. But when you get back on and wake up at 2:15 in the morning, today was a little less worse than yesterday, which was the worst day of all. The second day back was like the worst thing. So, but I think it's only goes up from here. I think we'll get better from here.
I feel like radio people, and I worked that shift every night. Not a 2:15 shift. I was like a 4 a.m. guy, but still. I think radio people will lie to you. I don't think anybody ever gets used to that morning shift. Like,
no.
I could never, ever figure out, do I take a nap after I get back? Do I go to bed early? Do I try to split it up somehow? I never could figure it out. And I worked for a couple of years on that, and I was happy to be done with it.
Well, it's amazing because like you want to do morning shows like the place you want to be when you really, for a lot of people, not for everybody. But once you get to that point of being a morning show host, you lose the ability to do the basic needs of life, right? So what do? We breathe, right? Okay, we get that going. We were supposed to sleep. Forget to do that. I can't figure that out. We're supposed to eat and drink. Forget to eat all the time because you have no concept of what's going on through the day. And then by the time noon hits, people want to schedule meetings at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. You're like, listen, I don't call you at 4 o'clock in the morning, so it doesn't work. Yeah,
that's
so
basically midnight.
It's a weird life. Yeah, it's a weird schedule that I think you're right. There's guys in the building that have done it for 30 years, and I don't know how they do it. And I've asked them. I said, I've been doing mornings for about 5.5 years now, 6 years almost. And I said, when do you get used to this? They just laugh right in my face. Just, yeah, good luck. So I think you're right. You don't get used to it.
I don't think you do. I think maybe some people do, but I think the normal person does not ever get used to it.
Yeah.
The other two gentlemen that we have in here are very unique. I don't think I've ever spoken to anybody who has done what you guys have done. They are both competitors for American Ninja Warrior.
Yeah.
Which is a rad show. I've loved it forever, and I think that's really cool. I have a quick bio here. So Karsten says you've competed in 5 seasons of the show, and you're a Ninja All-Star with his appearance on season 8. And also you were team captain on the Ninja versus Ninja. I'm not familiar with that portion of it.
It's where you fight, right?
Yeah.
No, you don't fight Ninja versus Ninja?
Yeah, Ninja fights. Yeah, absolutely. That makes sense. And you've also been spent 5 years working as a coach and a personal trainer in both the adult and youth fields. And then we have Elliot here, who graduated from UNT with a business degree, is a pharmaceutical rec, and about 4 years ago you got into training for American Ninja Warrior, and you've competed in a couple of seasons 8 and 10, and you also made it to the finals in season 10. So I want to ask you a question first, actually. Coming out of UNT with a business degree, working in pharmaceuticals, what was it about American Ninja Warrior that you were like, I gotta get into that?
Wow, that's a good one. So it all started, I was sitting on the couch, graduated. I was like, okay, got a good job here. I was like, what else can I do to, I guess, differentiate myself? I was watching the show. I've always been a fan of the show. Even on G4, I was like, even with the subtitles, I'm like, I really, really like this.
You gotta have the good cable package to have to see that.
You couldn't understand what they were saying, but you liked it. So then it moved over to I think Spike TV, and I was like, you know what? I could do that. So I actually started jumping around my house, my parents' house at the time, just jumping around. I was like, I could do the same things as them. Little did I know, after I went to the gym, it's a lot harder than it looks. And that pretty much sparked my interest. I was intrigued by it. I loved it. It was something different. It motivated me. It was always changing. And it was that next step that I needed in my life to kind of, what can Elliot do more of?
I've seen these people that have built the courses in their backyard to train on. Did you go that far down the rabbit hole, or?
I actually built a course in my garage. And,
okay.
So
how big is your garage?
The garage is not that big.
Okay.
So I had the course. I bought all these obstacles to hang up. Literally, the sheetrock started separating from the ceiling. And let's just say the wifey said, let's take that down. So let's just focus on the gym. So I tried to do all that. It didn't work out too well.
Carson, you were more involved in the show than Elliot was. Tell me about how you got into doing this whole thing, because this is I mean, I won't call it weird, but this is certainly an interesting path to choose, right?
Yes, very interesting. So similar to Elliot here, was a big fan of the show, watching it on TV, just kind of clicking through channels. I'd always watch it when it came on. I was like, man, it looks really cool, and I was looking for a new challenge to get myself into. I was very competitive, and I was like, let me just Google it and see how how you get on this thing. And at that time, it was like, it's on the website, apply now for the next season. I was like, oh, let me get on this website and start filling stuff out. And at the end of it said, you need to make a 7 to 8 minute video. I'm like, okay, like doing what? Like so
in your garage, Bill, wife yelling at you.
I was in an apartment, so I couldn't do all that fancy stuff there. I can hang up a pull-up bar on my door frame. That's about it. So just called up my buddy, like, hey, we got to put a video together. I don't know what it's going to look like, but let's just throw something together. Did that, sent it in, and just like didn't think anything of it, and got a call back. They're like, hey, you got selected for season 5. You're going to Denver, Colorado. I'm like, okay, we're getting this thing going here.
Go. Denver.
And that, in 6 years later, here I am right now, still competing and trying to make a name for myself on this thing.
And Scotty, I understand that you're going to try your hand at this too.
Yeah.
Is that what I've heard?
I'm in that stage where that Elliot was talking about, where you sit on the couch and you go, I could do that.
That's the easy part, right?
And then you're about to find out that it's a lot harder than you ever thought. So it's interesting because we kind of hooked up via my co-host on the show, Brett. You guys did a Warrior Games, is that what it's called? It was like a big charity event, right?
C4YL, yeah, huge in the Metroplex here.
So, and then we saw them. They had this. So the gym that Carson and Elliot work at, they can do mobile stuff. So they bring like these big American Ninja Warrior setups to different places, and they did it right in Victory Park in Victory Plaza, where our radio station is. And Brett hit him up, and they come to the station. And we started talking. The more we started talking about it, I was kind of doing the same thing. I was kind of like, this is so cool, and it's an interesting part is it turns out I have an 8-year-old son, and he loves American Ninja Warrior, and he was huge fans of these guys. And when I told him, because we were watching it's on demand, so you can go back and watch their episodes, and I was like, oh my god, there's Elliot and there's Carson, and my son always gives me a hard time. He's like, you don't know them. and so I was texting him FaceTime with Elliot, and he was a big fan. So of course, like, I had this idea, I want to be super dad all the time. Like, yeah, not only do I know them, I could do that. I'm gonna do that. And even he was like, oh, okay, yeah,
sure, right.
Good luck, Dad. I mean, I just showed you the show. So that's kind of how the whole thought process started. Is like, I wanted to be the super dad, and since we already knew each other, it was kind of a cool, fun opportunities. So that's how that relationship started of me wanting to go on American Ninja
Have
Warrior.
you done your application video yet?
So yeah, so we just finished it, and I think we have it here.
Yeah, I believe we do. It should say Scotty.
Oh yeah, give me a minute. I want to see this. Hold on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll pull it up here.
Yeah, let me know when you're ready. But so when I was talking to them about doing the video, I didn't really know what that meant to do in the video. So I watched Elliot's. I saw some Carson's. And to add different aspects to the video, we knew that there's some elements to the TV, which I think was really interesting because these guys, I think, have a really interesting point of view, being behind the scenes and being able to know what the producers are looking for and how the show actually works. Because I didn't know the process the same way you got to Google it. They were my Google to go through the application. So when we're putting this video together, we wanted to add, I wanted to do it for a cause as well, and a charity aspect, which you'll see which one we choose in there. But then also show that there's different lessons to be learned from American Ninja Warrior. It's not just about jumping and climbing stuff, which I love to do anyway. So we ended up shooting this video, and we all kind of brainstormed some stuff, and they helped me a lot. And I have a friend, which you'll see in here from P5 Performance. His name is Peter, and John is a trainer. So he put me through some training, and I think it'll make more sense if we watch the video first, and then I can explain kind of
So
what
is
happened.
what we're about to see, like the full package that you sent to them?
Yeah, so this is what, as of a couple, 2 weeks ago, or a week and a half ago, is what I submitted to American Ninja Warrior.
All right, let's hit it.
So Chance and I were sitting on the couch this weekend. We're watching TV, watching American Ninja Warrior.
I love American Ninja Warrior.
So our buddy Elliot, I was like, I would love to do that.
No, I love you, man, but no, you would never be able to do what they do on American Ninja Warrior. Why would you even want to?
It's a really cool learning experience, actually, and I think it's a cool opportunity. So, one of my favorite things is being a dad, and I fly back and forth every other weekend. Being a long-distance dad is not easy, but it's worth the hard work. And one of the things I tell Chance all the time is, don't ever ask somebody to do something that you're not willing to do yourself. And when it comes to hard work, I'm always telling him, you better work hard, you better try your hardest. And this right here, I think, is the perfect opportunity to go ahead and be an example of that.
You could never even train and get ready for that.
Well, now you know how I am. You know I'm definitely going to do American Ninja Warrior. I'm going to start training and everything. I'm going to do it.
Zero chance.
Onto here. I also tell my son that every single person has a unique ability to make people smile. And it's our responsibility to find out what that is and use it every single chance we get. So that's why I'm also doing this for an organization that prides themselves on changing the lives and bringing joy to kids with pediatric cancer. Jade, I wanted to call you to tell you, that I wanted to do this for the kids in Apple a Day.
Absolutely. I mean, the goal is to help as many kids as we possibly can. These kids that are fighting cancer spend so much time in the hospital, and it's really important for them to, keep that fight and to keep their heart. And the way they do that is by connecting to friends and family. Our whole mission is just to make sure that these kids, can stay connected to their friends and family while they're in treatment. And an iPad or a tablet is just an easy way to do that. So the more people that know about Apple a Day, the more devices we can put in the hands of these kids that are stuck in the hospital, and they can't be a part of the world right now. So the least that we could do is to bring the world to them. We'll be rooting you on the whole way.
Yeah. To be the American Ninja Warrior for the Dallas community, my son, Apple a Day, and really anybody that's out there fighting for something every single day. I'm being a ninja because I want to be, and I'm doing it for the kids that have to be.
So
dramatic, right?
Yeah, no, that was really well done. Did you do that, or did you have?
No, so it was my buddy Peter who does a lot of the video for. He does freelance stuff, but also for that place you saw me working out was P5 Performance, which isn't far actually in the Frisco area from their Ninja Gym
really
as well.
Close.
So yeah, I'm glad to see that because I was worried that the extent of your training was going to be doing somersaults through the sales cubes at Cumulus.
Well, so the video is about 3 minutes long, and we knew we had to shoot it. And when we were talking about the training, I think I think we should talk a little bit more about what it actually takes to train. We kind of did Instagram training. So the pull-ups and stuff, I only did about 5 of them. I did them for the video.
Maybe two.
Right, maybe 2. And so when it comes down to the actual training, what you heard even at the beginning, Brett was saying, he's like, you've never even trained for this. That is true. I don't actually know what I'm getting myself into. And I've gotten more and more nervous ever since I've submitted the video and it made it real. I've got a little bit nervous that I'm going to fall in the first thing. And that's whenever, you know, that look of disappointment on the show. Yeah. Somebody falls, they're like, all excited. And then they just go, yikes, I don't know that guy. I feel like that's going to be me. And that makes me a little nervous.
So, yeah, along those lines, I'll ask both of you, what was I'm sure you trained very hard going in, but you don't really realize what it is until you get there. So what was it that you felt was the biggest challenge as far as, you know, whether that be strength or stamina or whatever it may be? Like, what was the thing that you ran up against and said, I should have trained harder on this?
Yeah, do tell.
Yeah, so Scotty mentioned falling on the first obstacle, and that actually happened to me my first season. And going out there with all the intent on crushing the course.
There's a lot of hype that leads up to it, yeah.
There's a lot of hype, and so when you get out there and you get on that starting platform, everything changes and it gets real. And so you got to be prepared for just all the extra stimulation, the crowd going crazy, the big cameras right in front of your face.
The nerves, right?
The nerves.
And it's in the middle of the night, right? In Vegas,
That's what
or whatever they do nationals, it's in the middle of the night. That's a whole different world too. Did you train at like 2 a.m.?
A couple times, but that didn't last too long.
I got the 2 a.m. thing. I think I'm gonna be okay.
You're just getting up and ready to go.
Right.
So yeah, and just that mental piece is the biggest aspect. You can be the strongest guy in the gym or on the course and have all the abilities, but when it comes down, you see that water in front of you and being able to execute your plan and being able to channel everything out and just dial it in. That's the little magic piece there that makes it all come together.
Definitely, I can honestly say when you see the platform and then you're looking at the water, not that you don't know how to swim, but now you're competing over water. You're just like, if I fall in there, am I going to drown? So
Is that water cold?
Freezing cold. It's definitely not the perfect temperature, not like bath water by any means.
Yeah.
Definitely competing overnight is a whole new element. So you train during the day, after work or before work, and now you have to train. Well, now you're competing overnight, and you're just like, wow, am I up right now? But you're so energized. So much is going through your body. You're just
all adrenaline at that point.
All adrenaline. Yeah. You're like, I'm there. I'm with people that I look up to. I'm with people that I'm competing against, and we're all here for one cause, and that's to beat the course. And when you get up there, you got to put it all aside. But at night and the water definitely are two things. I'm just like, all right, let's do this.
Now, I know they changed the course up, but Scotty, looking at it, is there a part of it that you're like, I can kill this part? Like this part is mine.
I do think there's the low ones. So let me explain. I do think the part that I'm going to have some problem with is anything that is something you have to jump really high to get it. I'm not a tall guy. I'm only like 5'6". I got some hops, but I do think that will be a factor in some of that. So I've been doing some calf raises, extra calf raises and stuff. But I am kind of relying on like these guys as we get into the training. And if I even get the call back, I guess I'm jumping ahead there to get the call back. And we're all kind of waiting. We've all submitted these. They're not just training me. They're training. Like we want to do all this
is
kind
your
of
competition
as a get. No, man. Hey, if we all go, we all go. If one of us like, I think that's the cool part is it's kind of a team building thing at the same time. But yeah, I definitely don't want to be the only one that falls in the water on the first thing. That's for sure. So I do think it's going to be the ones that would be a little easier if I was taller or longer arms or whatever.
Right.
I don't like. I'm so unprepared. The more I talk, the more I realize I'm unprepared for this.
How do you rate his chances here? Like, is there something you're like, oh, you're going to struggle on this one?
Do tell.
Well, you never know. And if you go out there with the will to win, and sometimes you can just put a nice run together. You just kind of stay calm under the pressure and just trusting those instincts. Scotty's an athletic guy, and a lot of times you can go out there and really just put a good run together by just being in the moment. And so you never know what can happen. He's got what it takes, I'm sure.
He's going to surprise us. Watch.
Yeah, we'll get him prepared. Ellie and I will get him prepared as much as we can leading up to it. And, we'll just see what happens out there.
So I want to. We have a YouTube video, I think, Zach, of I believe it's one of Karsten's runs. I want to show this, and I hope Shout out to YouTube and Facebook, who's probably about to content flag us, but that's all right.
Yeah, real quick, Carson. If
Look
we
at
run
you,
this,
bro.
Are you cool with that? Are you, just want
Yes.
to make sure when we get content flagged.
Yeah, we
I
share
can
this around all the
timestamp
time.
this,
It's,
yeah.
it's promoting the show as well. So it's
Okay.
good.
Look at you.
Yeah, so I want to go through this, and I don't know, maybe just have you narrate like what you're thinking, what's going through your head, and like some of the maybe challenge or what you were feeling at the moment, if we can do that. So yeah,
Why'd you choose to do shirtless? Can we start? Can we just?
Oh yeah, let's talk about that.
Is that a
you can do either,
strategy
yeah.
or is that just sexy?
No, they say less shirt, more power. You get 10% more strength if you go shirtless. So,
Is that true?
And hey, studies have shown. So I'm like, hey, I'm following the research here. And
That's the hot inside tip that you didn't.
That's why I do my show shirtless. They say you're funnier if you take your
Right,
shirt.
yeah.
Right.
I like it.
10% better radio when you're shirtless. All
Trying
right,
to
let's
get
hit
better
it.
chances. Yeah, let's get it. I look tired right here, so it was probably late. My eyes look heavy. So I'm now like, oh man, I'm gonna crush this thing here at City Finals. I'm grabbing each step. I'm not gonna fall on the first one.
Now that's the first obstacle, but that looks pretty difficult.
Yes, it can be challenging if you're not ready for it.
Yeah.
So right here, I'm like, let me get an
What
extra
is
swing.
that thing?
The speed on this.
It's called a
Flying
TikTok
through it.
right here. Yep. Wait here. Make sure I hit this cargo net. I'm like, oops. Grab kind of high right here. Grab
Now,
kind of high.
are you thinking right here? Because I know you took an extra swing there. Are you thinking I just got to get this right? Like the time is less important than just getting through it, right?
Correct. Yeah. Let's get it right. Let's keep a good pace, but let's make sure we're accurate here.
Is that where you think people fail? Is when they just try to rush through the course?
Yes. When you rush a little bit, slip-ups happen.
Speed kills for sure.
I have to do that?
This is the Skyhook. We just actually put this in our gym, Ninja Nation in Frisco, so you can go try
Oh, so I
that
can
right
practice
now.
that?
That thing is ludicrous. Are you kidding me?
It's a lot of fun swinging around here.
Good Lord.
So mom's like, come on, you got this, son. I'm
That's
like,
so cute. Your mom is there. She's
biggest cheerleader. This is the pipe fitter right here, so it's a lot of upper
Oh, you're not
gravity.
allowed to use your lower body for this?
Once you get out that first one, no more legs on that one. So I'm using my legs as long as I can.
Right. See, I wouldn't make it all the way across. That thing's way longer than me.
Oh my God.
How tall are you?
6'1".
Yeah, not me.
So I'm like, let me go ahead and skip this. Let me shave off some moves
Oh,
here.
there you go.
Wow.
One less thing you have to touch means one less thing you're
So,
going to fall on.
Do you get insight on what the course is, how the course is going to be set up before you actually get out there, or before you get onto the show?
Once you get out there to the set, so like a day
Yeah.
before, you can kind of take a look at it, and you get a walkthrough before you take on the course that night.
But they don't let you do a trial run or anything like that.
Correct.
Okay.
And that's what makes it that much more challenging and difficult.
It's one and done.
Sam Ladder here. This is my favorite obstacle. I won the Super Sam Ladder Challenge back in 2008. Which was
What about that is your favorite? Like what?
Just the upper body. It looks cool. It sounds cool.
Yeah.
And it's a very unique obstacle. This one was tricky. That trampoline was really tricky.
I've never seen that one before. That's crazy.
It's a open trampoline, so it's real springy, and you really can't train on it. There's no gyms that have that anywhere. So I was really excited to get through that trampoline right there. A lot of guys that were very good on trampolines fell on that. So
All right, so right here, you're pumping your fist. Are you feeling like I'm in the home stretch? I got this.
I'm feeling pretty good. I'm like, I'm not too tired here. Let's go ahead and finish this here.
Man, this thing is a mile long.
Yeah, it's a pretty
Yeah,
long
how big
course.
is this course? That thing's got to be
a lot of modules.
intimidating, right? To step out there and see that set up.
Oh, you blink your eye and I'm
There
down
it
in the
is.
water once again.
Swimming with the sharks.
I think that thing is so rude too. You see, it just says fail. Up on the, I thought that's a success, man. That thing is super rude. What a disrespectful timer.
This is red buzzer that
Oh, look at that trampoline. Yeah.
blinks at you.
Yeah, look at that thing. Like,
Oh, there's
that thing's-
nothing on either side of that thing either.
Yeah, you got to hit that right on.
Yeah, it sinks down, and if you don't hit it right in the middle, you're going to fly.
So what was it? You just didn't get a good grip on those? Is that what happened?
I didn't get high enough on
Yeah.
those spheres there, and that was a veteran. Shouldn't have been a veteran mistake, but it was.
You know what's interesting? While we were joking around when we were working out, there was Elliot went and picked up a weight and he started flipping it. I'm like, what is he doing? He's just like playing around. But I didn't even realize he was working on his grip. Like there's things that I've never worked out my fingers before.
Right.
When you go to the gym, you don't feel like you think, like you do these little.
I got to have finger day.
I'm gonna
at
get
the
these
gym,
swole knuckles, son. You don't think about that, and so those are the little things that started messing with my head. Going, oh my god, that's where their expertise and their the fact that they've done this before, their experience, I think is going to give me an advantage that I would never have had before. But gonna have this. I'm gonna have the sexiest fingers in all of Dallas.
They're gonna be muscular for sure.
Do a little finger model. My fingers are gonna look like Carson on that video.
Now, for you, Scotty, I mean, what would you consider success here? Getting on the show. I mean, do you feel like if I get on the show, I'm gonna at least have to make it one obstacle deep to feel like I've done something, or do you want to? Are you going for the end on this thing?
I know. I'm definitely gonna go for the end. I'm super competitive, and I'm the kind of person that, like, I guess a perfect example of how I am is my girlfriend now, who I've been with for 4 years. Right? One of our first dates, we went to like a rock climbing wall place, and about, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes in, she tells the story all the time because it was almost the end of the relationship right there. I forgot she was there because there was one wall that I just couldn't climb. So I just kept climbing, and then I'd fall. And then I'm going to, for about an hour. And the more you do it, the more tired you get. And so she was just sitting there, like, texting her friends, like, I don't know, I'm on the date with this dude.
He won't stop climbing the stupid wall.
But it was in my head, it was this thing I needed to accomplish and I needed to beat. And it was insane because that was rude and disrespectful in a million different ways. But that's kind of my mentality. So when it comes to being competitive in these things, yeah, I want to finish it. But I think to evaluate what success is, I think there's a couple different layers. Because one, just getting and showing that doing something that you say you're going to do, I think is a really important lesson. A lot of people talk a big game, but don't actually ever follow through with those steps. The second aspect is one of the real reasons I'm doing too, for the exposure for the charity as well. So for me, the farther I go, the more exposure and the more kids we can help. So not only do I want to go far because I'm super competitive and don't like being embarrassed on TV, because that would suck too, but also the farther I get, the more exposure the organization gets, and we can help them more. So there's a couple layers of success, but on a surface level, yeah, I want to beat the thing. I want to do that. Everyone's perception of what an American Ninja Warrior is, I want to do that, and then you can peel back the layers of what that actually means. But yeah,
and you're talking about Apple a day, and I know you mentioned it in your application video, but give us just the quick, 500-foot view on what Apple a Day is and how people can find them.
Yeah, it's a really cool organization. So it started by a friend of mine, Jade, who does a radio show out of New York and was able to kind of put it on a bigger platform. But when she was in Florida, she did a lot with kids that had pediatric cancer in the hospital. So she would go there and visit, and she met one kid specifically that she ended up getting an iPhone for. It was a teenager who didn't have one, and a lot of her friends did because she spent most of her time in the hospital, unfortunately, and she saw the difference it made in her life. So it gave her the ability to text and tweet and send pictures and send videos and watch YouTube and be connected to the world. And so she started this program, Apple a Day, and that's essentially what they do, is they provide these tablets and these devices to kids that have long-term illnesses or spend a lot of time in the hospital for pediatric cancer. And it's amazing where it's grown to. I mean, I think they did over 50 different devices last month, and they raised a ton of money, and it's appleaday.org. Excuse me, but it is such a cool thing to see. And we actually got, so to expand the program from where she is in New York and where she started in Florida, we tried to we're going to start doing it a little bit more here in Dallas, but we did it once with a little boy in Dallas, and we were able to deliver the iPad. And when you see it and feel it firsthand, excuse me, this kid, he was, man, I want to say he was 5 years old, and his mom still texts me this day. He end up being part of the family in this relationship. But we went and delivered this iPad. He opened it up, and he started right away all of these things that he's never been able to have before. And not only was he able to be 5 years old and do things that he sees his other friends, because 5-year-olds have devices now. They have tablets, they have iPhones and things like that. But there was also different apps that he could use for therapy, and you can use them in so many different ways. And his mom texts me all the time. It changed his life. It's a really cool program that I hope grows so much bigger, and that's one of the reasons that we can try and get it on a bigger platform. Awesome. Yeah, it's a really, really cool program.
That's awesome. So Carson, the Salmon Ladder is your favorite event or your favorite obstacle. Elliot, I don't think I heard yours. What do you look forward to?
It's kind of a double-edged sword here. I love balance obstacles, but I've always fallen on balance obstacles. So
is that just like a mountain you're trying to conquer right there? It's like I want to try. I want to get this right.
Pretty much. Yeah. I want to finish the course, also doing the balance without falling.
Okay. Well, all right. I mean, we've made it half an hour here. We probably got to take a quick break. I need a little water. I feel I'm worn out just from talking to you guys. No, it's all right. But yeah, so let's. I don't know, Elliot, if you have, did you have anything that you wanted to promote or anything like that, or are you just
Not
looking
at
forward
all.
to the next season?
Definitely looking forward to the next season. I think coming out last season, it was more of a redemption from season 8. Getting an opportunity to not only qualify for the city finals, but then move on to Vegas was definitely, it was like a dream come true. So now it's like, okay, Elliot, what can we do now with Ninja Warrior? So stage 2 and better is definitely on the radar. Definitely supporting, being a dad and combining all assets of working, dad life, and ninja life together to see what this season will bring.
And Carson, we mentioned a couple times, but you have a Warrior gym that people can. Now, I assume this is not just exclusively for getting people on the show. I mean, there's
It's
good
almost
workouts
the opposite,
in it.
right?
Yeah. But if you want to get a taste of what it's like, how do people do that?
Yeah, so Ninja Nation in Frisco, we just opened in October, and it's a place where we say our age range is 5 to 105. You can play, train, or compete. So we're looking to change lives, change communities by bringing whole families together to come overcome obstacles together as well. So whether you're preparing for the show like Ellie and I and Scotty here, or you're just looking to go in there and try something different to stay active and just engage with the community, this place is amazing. It's got the look and feel of American Ninja Warrior, and we have a goal to create 1 million heroes by just interacting and engaging with people that come through our doors, and also with our mobile unit as well. So we're having a lot of fun doing it, and we can't wait for people to come and get that experience.
Kids love those things. My son, I told you, is 8, and it's cool for like kids' birthday parties, adults' birthday parties. Like, I mean, if you have families out there, bring your kids to the gym. It gets their energy out, but it's really cool to see them tackle obstacles.
Well, it's something that you're not going to find. I think most places is like, hey, you watch it on the show. Now come, you walk in there, and I assume you see all the obstacles. You're like, oh man, this is like the real deal. This is legit.
Carson wears shirts most of the time though.
I wear a shirt when I'm coaching that there.
Right. You don't want to get that extra 10% just yet. You gotta hang on to that. You gotta save it. How do people find it? What's a website or?
So if you go to ninjanation.com, it's got all 3 locations. We have 2 in Colorado as well that you definitely got to check out if that's closer to you. So hop on there. You can find all of our locations, all information about classes, birthday parties, training, and we're here to serve the community and change the world.
Cool. And Scotty, what's going on with you? How do people find your show?
Listen to my show, please, or I won't have a job. Now, every morning we're live from 5:30 to 10 on 93.3 here in DFW, or you can stream if you are listening around the world, hot933hits.com. It's all up there. There's an app as well. So we try to have some fun, talk some serious, talk some life, but mostly just be involved in the community. So
what other cities are you said you do cities in
I have a show
East Coast, I assume,
that I do separate, actually in Kansas City and Salt Lake City are the other 2 cities that I do a show for.
Cool. All right. Well, I appreciate the 3 of you coming in. We're going to keep hanging out here on the lunch break for another half hour or so. So stick around with us. I guess I ought to play a little music, huh?
Is there lunch involved in the lunch break?
No, we just call it that.
How lame is that?
We talk about it all the time, but we always leave here and be like, I'm starving. So yeah, no, sorry, no catering. We don't have that in the budget. I apologize. Maybe next year. 28 or 2020 goals.
Oh my God, it's going to be 2020.
I know. Think about that. All right, we'll be right back here on the lunch break. Stick around. All right, welcome back to the lunch break. I think we're having a little audio issues with our music. That's all right.
Believe it or not, like 4 people stuck around through that. So
good for them,
guys.
Good for
Thanks.
them.
Yeah.
We appreciate your sacrifice.
My God, Matt, can you see your camera?
Yep, I can. I'm going to fix that. A little live production here going on with lunch break. That's all right.
Wonderful.
Still got Zach in the booth with his crew behind him, the booth crew.
Hi.
Anna and Derek. And still in studio, we've got Scotty K, Karsten, and Elliot. Thank you guys for sticking around.
Thanks, man. Yeah, well, you said, do you want to stay or do you want to leave? And we're like, we're actually having a lot of fun.
Having a lot of fun.
I don't know what we're about to talk about, but I'm in.
Well, we'll talk about something that you actually brought up. There was a poll that was done in the UK, and I'm looking for the actual outlet that did this poll, and I don't see it. But it's a poll on how long it takes folks to get back into work mode after the holidays. This may track for you. It says it looks that most people take about 4 days to get back in the quote unquote back in the saddle. After a holiday break. About half of them said they think they suffer from the January blues, so to speak, and about another third say they expect work to just be terrible in January. I try not to fall into the mindset of there being big changes at the New Year. I know everybody looks at New Year's Day as a new year, new me, and turning over, and it makes sense. But I think part of this is, people are looking at it like, well, another year and here we go. It's almost like the Monday of the year, right? In January is.
Yeah, that's a good way to put that, actually. I like that.
So I try not to fall into that mindset, but I get it. And like you said, if you have a few days off work, it's hard to get back into that grind.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. There's probably two aspects to that. There's the mentally getting back into it, and then physically getting back into the game, depending on what your job is and what you do. I talked a little bit about how for work I have to get up at 2 o'clock in the morning. So that physically is a difficult thing. And I guess has a mental aspect to it, but just waking up in general and then getting, you got to eat right. You got to be hydrated. There's a lot of things to do to keep going through the day. But I think it is hard on all aspects to sometimes get back in that grind. Other people are not. Other people can jump right into it, and there's like, okay, that was a break. I got to reset, and I'm like, reset? I just knocked myself off my routine. So I'm kind of like the opposite of that. I don't know how it is for you guys too, but I almost like to keep going and not have more than like a day or so off.
Yeah,
is that weird?
Do you guys feel that? I mean, do you take big holiday breaks or not? We don't really take them around, and I know in the radio business a week and a half, like you said, is like
that's all I took all year. Yeah, the whole year. That's all I took.
Usually it's a day or two, and I think it was kind of the same way around here. But I don't know. How do you guys feel about getting back to work, getting back into the grind in 2019?
It's definitely difficult. I'm in the pharmaceutical industry, so a lot of the doctors take on vacation. They're in their ski resorts, they're enjoying family time, so it's like a lull for me because, as Scotty said, you're in this routine on a consistent basis, and then come January 1st, we're like, okay, are the doctors back at work yet so I can actually start working, so I can start promoting to them. And then once you get back into the routine, it takes at least another 2 weeks before you're like, okay, this feels normal. Where do I need to be? You're kind of flustered, more or less. So I can definitely see that. First of the year is always tough.
Yeah. Zach, were you suffering from a little holiday hangover in there?
Oh, man. You know it. No, things are great. I love this place. Things are not so bad. I enjoy the break because it's a good time to reset, man. By the time you get to the end of the year, people's schedules are nuts. Like, people are bailing on things to go out of town. You can't get a hold of anybody. So, like, taking that nice long break is important because it's just a good opportunity to reset. But that being said, man, it does make January feel a little bit like Monday because you take that big break. So, like, yeah. I don't know. I guess I started off the week good. Now it's Friday, and I think
you need that first full week, right? Like, this week doesn't count.
You throw a holiday on a Tuesday, it messes everybody up.
Yeah.
I think Elliot hit something, too, that I didn't think about that actually bothered me today, is that when your job depends on other people getting back into the swing of things, too, to allow you to get back into the full routine, that's really hard also, because there's a lot of people that are like, I'll just take it easy this week. You're like, no, I need you to not do that. So it's not only with you mentally and physically, but it's also, man, the people around you sometimes can affect that.
Yeah, I think everybody has their own, it takes their engines at different times to get started, right? And so when you're ready to go and kill it, or if you haven't taken that much time off and people are just wandering back in after a long holiday break, it can be a little hard. I want to talk a little bit about this is going to be a very hard transition, but that's fine. Whatever we've got
hard
time left. I want to talk about dating a little bit. I don't want to get too personal, but are we in relationships in this room, or are we looking, or what's going on here?
Happily married, for
married.
sure.
Yeah, there you go.
Not married, but I definitely have a special young lady in my life.
How long you been together? Does she know you're together?
I hope she does. I hope she does. If you're watching now, you know I'm claiming you. So.
How long has it been?
About 6 months now.
Okay, so it's fresh, yeah.
So it's still fresh. Yeah.
So that's a different level. So I'm going on. I'll be 4 years in May.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. So that's why I was wondering what if there's like multiple different levels here. What
Rockwall notwithstanding the rock climbing.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, I told the story earlier. She stuck with me. That was like probably the hardest thing to stick, or the easiest thing to stick with me through.
Yeah.
And you know, when you're in radio, I mean, you move a lot, things happen, and if you change jobs, you have to basically move cities. It's not like there's not a lot of times people stay in the same city. So yes, it's a very interesting industry to have somebody put all of their eggs in one basket for.
Yeah, I'm 8 years married, 10 years together.
Oh wow!
Nice.
And I know Zach in there.
I'm
Folks
8
know
years
he's
dating.
Yeah, 8 years. The perennial dater.
He's right now. Is he on Tinder right now?
No, he's committed.
Oh,
serial
committed.
dater.
Okay.
Yeah.
A monogamal dater, I guess.
We met on Bumble. My girlfriend and I. We met on Bumble.
Wow. Oh, really?
Yeah, that's the one where she has to talk first.
Right.
I don't know why she did, but she did it.
That's like a success story, you know. You hear about all those dating sites, and you never know, like, are they serious? Are they not serious? But true testament, 4 years in the game.
Yeah, I know that we're going to talk about a whole bunch of stuff, but it's a really interesting story of how we got together. Do we have time for that? I don't know.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
So it was an interesting situation because it was on the radio, but she didn't know it. So like I said, this was
good. That's a great way to start.
The Rockwall was the easiest thing that she had to put up with. So we did this thing on the show called the 10-Date Challenge, right? So this is when I was single. I was actually trying to get over my ex-girlfriend that was like 11 years that I was trying to get over her because I'm an idiot. And so we did this thing called the 10-Date Challenge on the show where I had to go on 10 different dates with 10 different people in 10 totally different situations. And this is 10 weeks in a row, right? So we found dates in different ways. Some were on the air, some were from social media, some were from dating sites, some were friends of friends, things like that. But every date has to be different. And everybody, for the most part, except her, knew that that it was on the air and this was a thing.
Right.
And I did everything. I mean, I did dates where I had to go to Chuck E. Cheese dressed as Batman and eat pizza because my son planned that date. I went on double dates. We did, they all had to be different situations. So this one time, I wanted it to be a situation where it didn't feel like work. Like we're going and don't have to think that this is going to be on the air. So she didn't know it. I can kind of let loose and so she didn't know. I never said anything. We went to like a minor league baseball game and I think she had some inklings of like it was weird, but she knew I was on the radio but never listened to the show because they had us like go on the field and sumo wrestle and like
this is the way things always are, right?
Right, yeah, this is real life. So it wasn't until the third date when we went out to dinner and she looks at me and just goes, "So." And I instantly knew right then because she had told the story to one of her coworkers of how we went on this date and we went and we had corn dogs and we went to on the field and we sumo wrestled and we had funny helmets on and we had this great time at this minor league baseball game. And her coworker looks her right in the face and goes, "I've heard this story before." So I had to explain to her, and the whole idea behind the 10-Day Challenge, it wasn't about like it wasn't a bachelor situation. So that was the biggest thing. It wasn't about like winning my heart because that's the most narcissistic thing I think that there ever was. But it was about putting yourself in vulnerable situations and stepping out of your comfort zone. And I wasn't going on dates. I wasn't dating. I wasn't doing that stuff because I was sitting in my little box of working all the time and like thinking about my girlfriend. So to be vulnerable and get yourself out, and we actually did it because it worked once before for my co-host, one of his best friends. She ended up marrying the person they did the 10-Day Challenge with, and now 4 years later, I'm with my girlfriend Shelby. So
that's cool.
She put up, like I said, she put up with a lot.
Is somebody's phone, or is there I'm hearing a little bit of feedback here. There we go.
Live production. In
yeah, there we go. That's fine.
They're ninjas. They're not radio guys.
So, well, you bring up an interesting point though, off of Bumble, because I assume that this happens probably a lot with the Tinders, Bumbles, the quick apps, the quick dating apps in the world. And this is a new dating trend. Although I hesitate to call it new because I'm sure this has been going on forever. They've just named it now, which is called sneeting.
Sneeting?
Sneeting.
Sneeting.
And so basically, you're going to understand exactly what this is when I say it. It's going out on a date simply to get free dinner. And then bouncing to the next person. So this article from Marie Claire calls it again. They've named it Sneeding. I don't know if they've if they picked that up from somewhere, but they call it the modern day dine and dash, where you go out on a date, you get the free dinner. Now they don't genderize it, but I guess men or women could probably do this depending on who's picking up the check these days. But this is was that. I don't know. In your dating days, is that I don't have to. I know I'm paying for dinner. Well, I guess we're both paying for dinner now.
At this point,
At this point, but I know where the money's coming from now. But if I were back in the dating world, I don't know if that would be a concern or not.
Yeah, it's definitely a real thing, and I know people that have done this and still do this, and. Some people do it just for that. Some people are open to, hey, if it ends up being cool, it ends up being cool. If not, I get a free meal out of it. But it's one of my friends that did this, right? She described it as like this. She goes, well, some guys go out and go on dates just for sex. Why can't I go on just for a meal? And I was like,
touche.
I don't have answers for that. And now I'm uncomfortable, and I'm sorry for those guys, because those guys are all jerks.
Fair enough.
But it's definitely a real thing.
Yeah.
Right or wrong, I don't know. I guess it depends on, like, for me, it depends on the girl. Is she in there just being a jerk, or is she up front and you're like, hey, I don't know if this is going to go anywhere, but I enjoy, hey, this conversation is cool. Yeah. Or maybe it's not cool. Hey, this isn't going anywhere, so, like, we can keep eating, or we can bounce. It's up to you. But
I suppose there's the mentality behind it, right? Like, if you're going and you're thinking, well, this may work out, or I may get a free dinner. That's one thing. If you're going in it specifically like, I'm just going to use this guy or this girl for a free dinner, I mean, you might need to reevaluate what your priorities are, right? Huh. Maybe there's a reason you're single. I don't know.
Yeah.
You got to go through all that work to. There's a process to to get to a point where you're going out to dinner. So all that just for a meal, and better be like Del Frisco's or some kind of high end.
You better be getting something out of it.
And I'm not doing that on the first date, anyways.
That's a good test. So.
Chili's doesn't count.
Yeah, I was gonna say, so for first date. Take them to a tester place, right? Mm-hmm. Chick-fil-A. Although I feel like a lot of girls would be like, "Yo, that was dope. He took me to Chick-fil-A.
That was delicious."
Yeah. You gotta, like, I hit up Applebee's for the $1 margaritas or something like that, and see if she comes back for the second date.
My wife and I's. Well, I hesitate to call it our first date, but our first meal out was Chipotle. So
awesome.
Yeah, and she still likes Chipotle. So what can you say?
In retrospect, I feel like that would have been a better date for me. She loves Chipotle. Who doesn't like Chipotle?
True.
So
do you spring for the extra guac though? That's the question. That's how you know.
The difference between the boys and the men.
Whatever you like. Whatever you like. Whatever you like. Zach, I assume you're not worried about sneeding anymore these days.
Not particularly. No. I got to be honest though. I got a very heteronormative approach to this. If a woman does it, it's like, come on, really? That's awful. If a guy does it, I'm like, wow. No, well done. How did you manage to pull that off? Yeah, you broke out of the norm. She paid for dinner, and you got away with it. Well done, sir.
This other one is actually, I don't have to worry about sneeding anymore, but this other one I do run into all the time, and I will call my wife out on this. She is a serial offender of this one. It's called screen dipping. And this is the act of, if you're hanging out together watching TV, and your significant other is constantly looking at their phone, looking at their computer, whatever, not paying attention whatsoever. I don't know why. It drives me crazy whenever it happens, especially if we sat down to watch a show together or watch a movie together, and I look over and she's just constantly scrolling through Facebook or scrolling through Instagram. It drives me nuts, and I maybe I have antiquated notions on that. I try to keep my phone down when we're having quiet time or we're enjoying something together, but is that a problem that you guys?
For me, it's like a habit thing. We actually just talked about this last night. We were just doing this. We were sitting there watching TV, and both of us at some point, because it's curiosity and it's habit, and it's right there. Yeah. And I feel like the only way to not do that is if it's across the room, and then that gives me anxiety because I'm like, oh my god, my phone's all the way over there. What if someone
call?
Yeah. What if someone messages me? She'll call me out on it if I do it every once in a while, and every once in a while if she's on her phone, I'll just comment on something so it gives a notification. But it's I don't. Is it a problem? It can be. I think it can become a real problem because then all of a sudden that becomes the norm, right? That becomes your relationship. That becomes I don't know. It becomes something that you don't necessarily want it to be, because then you're losing that conversation. We have like a half an hour a night together, basically, by the time we're all done with work and before we go to bed and things. So that's important time.
And it's funny because ultimately it shouldn't matter, right? Like, it shouldn't matter to me if I'm sitting there watching television, I'm enjoying it, and I look over and my wife is on her phone doing something else and only half paying attention.
Do you think it shouldn't matter to you? Or do you want her to be present with you on that?
See, that's why. I mean, I think that's where I'm coming at it from. But ultimately, it's like, if she's not really into this, I don't know. I don't know what I'm looking for when I'm looking for her to be watching the exact, focused on the same thing that I am.
Yeah, that's a good point too. Okay.
Did you guys choose it together? Like, did you choose the show together, or?
Yeah, you like binging this together?
Usually that's what it is. Is like, it's something that we sat down to watch together.
I can understand that completely.
Yeah, basically, being married, you understand, you don't get to choose the TV programs anymore.
Very, very seldomly, and a lot of times if I do pick a movie, she's falling asleep. So I'm like, was it a bad movie, or were you just not interested? So I'm kind of in between. But I can definitely understand if you guys set out time together. You're like, you know what, let's watch this together, and then she's like, oh, I'm on my phone. It's like, well, you just agreed to watch this with me.
Yeah,
I got you.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't. It's one thing. It's one thing if it's happening at dinner, because obviously you're supposed to be communicating with each other. But I do try. I try to tamp it down a little bit and not get frustrated. And I do it too sometimes. I'll look on my phone and she'll call me out for it. But I don't know. It's something that I think, if we're going to set resolutions for 2019, it's something that I would like to be better about. Is just being able to put down the device, whatever it is, set it off to the side, not feel that anxiety when it's on the other side of the room, and I can hear the notifications going off. Sending me stuff.
No, man, you got it all wrong. See, I saw a lot of people doing that. They were like, man, 2018, I looked at my screen time. I was on 3 hours a day. That's too much. I got to take it back. Me, I'm like, those are rookie numbers. I got to bump that up. I'm growing a brand. What am I doing here?
Yeah, we got to make this something.
This is good stuff.
You know what? I think technology solves it for you. So not only do they have the screen time stuff, but they have the ability to watch shows on your phone and stuff. So watch the show on the phone so you can't play with it. And then not only do you guys have to get closer, but then you can't play. There you go.
You're squinting and looking.
That's my horrible solution, though.
Yeah, exactly.
Chromecast.
My wife's New Year's resolution is actually live in the now. So I think that's something we all can do. Let's put the phone down for a hot second, but.
Yeah, and with that, I feel like you have to set little goals, right? So you have to okay, so like live in the now. What does that mean, right? People set these generic goals, and so when you say live in the now, like, okay, well, I'm gonna cut my screen time down to 2 hours from whatever it is, and now you have like a tangible goal for that stuff. Because I know if I'm like, I'm gonna read more books. Well, that could mean read 7 words, because that's more than I read last year. Like, what does that mean?
2 chapters.
So,
Start right there.
Yeah.
I do try to make that conscious effort of the achievable goal, which is I don't even know what I haven't checked my screen time in a while, but it'll be something like, all right, if I sit down to do something, I'm putting the phone away and I'm just gonna do my best to just focus on it. Yeah. And I don't know. I feel like we're well beyond the point of that mattering. Everybody's tied to their phone at all times, and I don't say what you want to about the psychology of that, but I guess it's just a part of our daily life now. So is it worth fighting against, or is it worth just accepting? I'm not really sure.
Just giving up. Marriages just give it up. Just give it up to the phone. So you're 6 months in. You guys, do you do the TV shows together yet? 6 months in?
Yeah.
Do you have shows that you watch together?
Some like Netflix series and things like that. So if we're doing something like that, then like phones need to be away, or I like the term screen dipping. Is that what you said?
Yeah, screen dipping.
That's funny.
We'll turn into screen flipping, where I see a phone and I flip it out of her hand or something like that. Good Lord.
What do you think the date? Okay, so what do you think the time frame is before the phones come back out in TV? Is it like a year? Because you're only 6 months in, and that's super fresh. I think that's super. And I guess depending on how much time you spend together, really. But when something's new like that, I think you're much more conscious of it.
Yeah. Because a couple of years in, and it's like, do whatever you want to do as long as you're happy.
Yeah,
that's fine.
Yeah, I feel like that's horrible now that I'm saying it out loud, right? Like is it okay? Is it safe to say that you should live your relationship like you're 6 months in?
I think that's a noble goal. I think it's a noble goal, but I don't know if it's. I mean, I think part of the beautiful thing of a long-term relationship is that ability to just be like, I'm just going to sit in the same room with this person and not have to talk to them at all times, right? Or not have to be engaged as if I were 6 months in, right? Like, part of it can be, I don't have to feel bad if I want to watch something, or if I want to play a game or read a book, and she's off doing her own thing. And I think early on in the relationship, you probably aren't at that point, right? You want to be connected at the hip. So I think it's admirable to do that every now and then, but I just think there is a bit of, I like that comfort too. I like that comfort of being able to say, do your thing, hang out. I'm going to go into the other room and do something, and we'll be all right.
The interesting thing is we have 4 dudes in a room talking about
right,
not a woman perspective at all. Where's Anna when we need her?
right.
I do feel like there should be a woman perspective on that conversation, but
that's what you get here on the lunch break.
We'll just call it wrong.
For our last story today, I want to point to one of my favorite trends on social media. Maybe you've seen it. I see it pop up a lot around the 4th of July, where people will get on to Twitter and say this coming 4th of July, people will say, happy 2019th birthday, America.
Do people say, really?
Absolutely say that. So come the New Year's, we had to, we had a lot of people, and I can't tell how many of these are real or not. Some of these look as if they could be real. This one lady tweeting out, crazy to think the Earth is turning 2019 years old today. Hard to believe. Happy birthday to my favorite planet. Earth is 2019 years old.
That doesn't even make sense. That even like the science people. Science that doesn't like it doesn't even make sense. The dates don't. This not 2000.
This one feels real. Just a couple of hours till I become 20. I feel old, but the fact that the Earth is older, 2019 years old, fascinates me. Imagine living 2019 years, long enough to see the fruit of mankind's intelligence, which are memes and anime, apparently. Is what
like there was no Earth before 2,000 years ago?
That's where time started.
If this is a gag, I wish I had been clever enough to come up with that for Twitter. Like, 2019 years old today. Way to go, world. Like, that's fantastic.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite things to do. Again, like I said, on 4th of July, I'll just search the term 2019, or whatever the current year is, and you'll see people popping up all over. Happy birthday, 2018 years old.
It's also disrespectful. Like, the world has feelings too. The Earth does not want to be reminded that it's 2,000 years old. That is rude and disrespectful. Why don't you say 2,000 years young?
Yeah,
there
exactly.
you go.
Yeah, why don't you
have some decency here?
So stupid. By the way, we decided on the show this morning, we made a rule that you cannot say Happy New Year to anybody after today. Today is that final day.
The last happening.
Yeah.
January 4th.
Yeah, but
that's not bad.
People saying Happy New Year all the way through like to February. Come on.
Is that a day limit, like 3 days or whatever it is, 4 days?
It's like the first
into the new year.
Yeah,
First week.
Yeah, to me, and if you saw somebody on Monday and you still said Happy New Year on Wednesday, that's a stupid thing too. After the first time you say it, it's done, and then after Friday, no more, people. That's it.
The year's already begun. Let's go.
Don't do it. And we came up with punishments too. One of them was that you have to listen to Baby Shark for 3 hours straight.
That's terrible.
So you don't want to lose that. There's other ones too, but yeah.
As a corollary to that, I think we had our own in here, which was on Monday, New Year's Eve. Whenever you were leaving the office or seeing someone, you say, "See you next year."
Oh my God!
God.
Yeah, you got
Thanks, Dad.
I think we had a few of those. I think we had a few of those happen around here.
The
around
cringe. Yeah, it was great.
As both Elliot being dads, and I don't know if you have any kids or anyone, that is disrespectful to the dad joke world. So
do better, dads. Please do better.
Do better, Earth. That's 2019.
Yeah. So happy birthday to the Earth. Crazy to think it's 2019. What a great year the Earth is going to have coming up. I don't think it's the lunch break's birthday, but happy birthday to us anyway.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, lunch break.
Yeah. Where's the cake?
I want to thank Elliot Jolivet and Karsten Williams for coming in. Best of luck in the upcoming seasons of American Ninja Warrior. I have high hopes that I will see you again on the show. I have hopes that I will see you, but I guess we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Why is there somebody in your ear right now going, "He's never coming back"?
No.
Turn that off.
No. I mean, good luck on your audition, and hopefully this is the first of many seasons of American. Are you going to do it again if you make it in?
I mean, let's not get ahead of ourselves. I haven't even made it on one yet. Yep. So, but I would try again. I think.
Absolutely.
I think so.
It's going to be your thing, right?
Yeah. Is that my thing?
Your new thing.
Yeah, your new thing.
I don't know. You saw him with his shirt off. I don't look like that. So
I saw the abs on your audition video, man. Looking pretty good. So
Photoshop.
So if you want to learn more about the gym, it's ninjanation.com. If you want to learn more about Apple a Day, that's appleaday.org. Again, Scotty K, thank you for coming in. I appreciate you joining us here on the lunch break.
This was fun.
Zach, I appreciate you joining us. Apparently, I'm not going to have any music to go out on, so maybe we'll go out dry, or maybe we'll have something in there. Or we'll beatbox on the way out. That's cool. Thank you again for watching on the lunch break. We will be back on Monday. Happy New Year, everybody.
That's the last time you could say that.